Going into the 2024 NFL Draft, which players could the San Francisco 49ers trade even during the draft? Which trade candidates pop out for the San Francisco 49ers? That's what we're talking about on today's 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Thank you so much for being a real one, hanging out here with us. There are so many great content options out there, so many talented content creators. Anytime you decide to kick it with us, we're very appreciative of that. Obviously, the most notable trade candidate for San Francisco is wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. And with all of these trade candidates, I'm going to give you reasons for why the Niners might trade those players away. With Aiyuk, if a team offers a great trade package that the Niners can't say no to, that's one reason he could get dealt. Number two, what if his asking price is way too high? What if CD Lamb gets more than $30 million and Aiyuk says, I'm on par with CD Lamb. I want $30 million. If you don't pay it to me, another team will. I want out. Those are other reasons why San Francisco could wheel and deal here. And if Aiyuk, who was drafted 25th overall by the Niners, has developed into an all-pro player, wants that money, Niners aren't willing to budge on their number, and then Aiyuk and his camp get disgruntled, they become unhappy. Does the relationship get fractured, which you have to trade him away? We see this all the time, not just in the NFL, but across professional sports. Why I would keep Aiyuk, he's a special player. I've continued to say that. Even going into the 2022 season, I was saying I like him better than a player like CD Lamb. I think he's a complete wide receiver who brings so much to the table. You also want to do whatever you can to support your young quarterback with the good ecosystem of supporting pieces. Aiyuk's relationship and his on-field continuity and camaraderie with Brock Purdy really came to fruition in a beautiful way in 2023, where Purdy was top 5 in MVP voting, and then Aiyuk, as I said, was an all-pro player. The Niners always seem to invest in their homegrown players. They've done it in 4 consecutive off seasons. George Kittle, Fred Warner, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa. And they've said we like to take care of our own because we invest in these players. We use our time to turn them into upper echelon football players. They've literally done that with Aiyuk as well. And I just love what Aiyuk is about. He's not a diva like Stephon Diggs. He's a willing blocker. He has swagger, confidence, toughness. He'll go up and get it. He'll take the top off of the defense. You don't have the footwork and the route running ability that he has if you don't work on your craft. It's another thing. Aiyuk is just about that business. Here is a Brandon Aiyuk trade idea here. And this might be a move if Aiyuk wants out or if the asking price is just crazy, the Niners can't say no to it. Or the Jacksonville Jaguars, after losing Calvin Ridley to the Tennessee Titans because the Titans paid him $23 million, offer up the 17th overall pick to give a number 1 wide receiver to Trevor Lawrence. And then you have Christian Kirk, couple of other really good pieces like Travis Etienne. You start to build a nice little offensive foundation there, and the Jags send the Niners the 17th overall pick. And if the Niners got that 17th overall pick, what could they do? Either with 17 or 31, vice versa. You can draft a wide receiver to be a Brandon Aiyuk replacement, and then you get another starter, and you take an offensive lineman. Again, you could go either position at 17, and whichever one you don't go at 17, you go at 31. 2 picks inside the top 31 allows you to build your football team. For anybody out there also who's saying, Brandon Aiyuk isn't worthy of a first-round pick, that's cap. Brandon Aiyuk is a special player. He's gotten better every year that he's been in the National Football League. He's a complete wide receiver with so much to his bag as far as his route tree goes. He can take the top off of the defense and be a vertical threat. He can be elusive, make you miss, has the getaway speed. He's pretty physical. He's a willing blocker in the ground game. And you're telling me that a player who was taken 25th overall, who's still young, he's going to be 26 this year, who was the 25th overall pick in 2020, isn't worth a first-round pick? And then also you look at these numbers here, yards per catch number 2, yards per target number 2, Pro Football Focus wide receiver grade. He was only number 2 behind Tyreek Hill. Second in EPA, and despite the Niners having a plethora of weapons on the offensive side of the football, with Christian McCaffrey, who had more than 2,000 all-purpose yards, George Kittle, 1,000 receiving yards for the first time since 2019, Deebo Samuel, who had more than 1,000 all-purpose yards, and in a run-centric offense, Aiyuk, with lesser opportunities compared to a player like CD Lamb and some of these other top-tier wide receivers, still was 7th in receiving yards. And the growth has been tremendous from the player. The development turns heads. And the real ones across the NFL know that Brandon Aiyuk, if you evaluate the game, if you scout the game, if you turn on the tape, he's a top 10 wide receiver. He's everything that you want. Gifted with the feet and the route running, really good hands, and then all of the other strengths that he has to his game. And it's just that consistent improvement. Who's to say that Aiyuk can't continue to get better? I think he's only scratching the surface, honestly. This Brandon Aiyuk trade idea here. Who wins the trade if this trade were to happen? If it's the Niners, type 49. If it's the Jags, type JAC. Niners trade candidate number 2 is Talanoa Hufanga. Why would the Niners trade a safety who in his second year in the National Football League was a first-team All-Pro? Throughout this entire offseason, the Niners have been eyeing safeties in the free agency market. They might even draft one in the draft or Hufanga is in a contract year. And if he plays well in 2024, I have a feeling the Niners are not going to be able to afford him because the market was flipped on its head this offseason. Xavier McKinney from the New York Giants got $17 million per year from the Green Bay Packers. And Kyle Duggar of the New England Patriots got a 4-year, $66 million contract. Hufanga has an all-pro honor to his name, and he's a highly impactful player who's very versatile. And with the Niners getting tight on cash, are they going to be able to afford a player like Hufanga? And they might not think that Hufanga is a scheme fit. If they get blown away by an offer, could the Niners look to trade him away and then sign and draft a safety? Where Hufanga excels, other teams are certainly looking at this. The Niners are as well. Plays really good against the run. You can use him as an extra man on blitzes, from the corner, or on that delay. He just makes plays around the line of scrimmage, has a knack for making plays on the football as well, thanks to his instincts, being able to read and diagnose plays. While his 40-yard dash wasn't crazy coming out of USC, he plays fast on tape and with his hair on fire. That's why he's captivated this fan base, because he's such a fun player to watch. Where he struggles a little bit as a deep safety against the pass, the Niners are trying to get better there. Sometimes he can get aggressive. He can over-pursue, and he bites. And when he over-pursues in the pass game, leads to explosives. That's why the Niners try to hide him sometimes around the line of scrimmage, because he can be a liability in coverage. Now, the Pro Football Focus numbers certainly check out. From his all-pro season in 2022, 639 coverage snaps, overall grade of 68.8, run defense grade 64.5, good pass rush grade of 71.4, coverage grade 67.8. He did make some improvements in 2023, and who's to say he can't continue to make improvements with his game. In 2023, before the torn ACL, 384 coverage snaps, overall grade of 70.5, run defense grade of 77.1, pass rush grade 76.3, and then that coverage grade of 66.3. So if a team offers a lot for the services of Talanoa Hufanga, who I've compared to Troy Polamalu, even coming out of USC, even with the injury concerns, do the Niners look to trade a player of that caliber, knowing that they might not be able to extend him, so why not get some value back for a player that they would lose for nothing in free agency? Be sure to subscribe to us here on the San Francisco 49ers Report, by the way, for daily coverage of this football team. We appreciate everybody for showing support to the show. If you want to further support the show and save money on your tickets, make sure you do so with Game Time. It is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all things sports, comedy, music, and theater. Game Time believes that the impromptu moments in life lead to incredible shared experiences. So what did they do? They built a ticket marketplace that makes it faster and easier to get into your favorite events at a moment's notice. Game Time gives fans access to last-minute tickets to the most popular events in more than 60 cities across the United States and Canada. Get images of your seat before you buy so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. Game Time, also very easy to use. You can buy tickets with 2 taps on your phone. Coming down the wire in the NBA regular season, Jonathan Kuminga with a great game for the Golden State Warriors in his return from injury. Warriors jockeying for a playoff spot in the play-in tournament. You can get tickets to a Warriors game using the code ChatSports to get $20 off, or you want to go to a San Francisco Giants game. Blake Snell making his Giants debut a little bit earlier this week. A little bit rocky, but you expect him to make some improvements. $20 off. Use the code ChatSports. It's not just for sporting events. You can use the app and get that discount code if you want to go to a concert, a comedy show, or if you're into theater. Check it out. Highly encourage it. It's the only app that I use when it comes down to buying tickets. Trade candidate number 3 for San Francisco is a player who's been very disappointing for the Niners through 2 years, considering where the Niners drafted him, and that was in the second round in the 2022 draft. Jackson could get dealt, Drake Jackson, because he might be hidden in this rotation. Like, the Niners aren't waiting for him. And I thought it was an indictment on Drake Jackson that the Niners traded for Chase Young. And then they signed Yetur Gross-Matos as well as Leonard Floyd. So is Jackson even going to be able to sniff playing time? He's making some decent money as a second-round pick. Other people might look at a player who's 22 years old, who showed flashes at USC, has shown flashes in the NFL as a player with some upside. So mid to late round pick, you could certainly do worse. And in turn, you get back a player who's going to be able to help your pass rush, which is always a need for every single team across the NFL, especially in this offensive-laden era that's become increasingly pass-happy. And Drake Jackson, he has flashed a lot of ability. Like week 1 against the Pittsburgh Steelers this past year, he had 3 sacks for this defense. He was a tone setter in that football game. And then as a rookie, he got some snaps. He had 3 sacks in his first 6 games as a rookie. You're thinking, my goodness, I like what I'm seeing here. But was a healthy scratch at the end of the 2022 season as a rookie, and then got hurt, had to undergo a knee surgery. Early into the 2023 campaign, he's been nothing but a disappointment up to this point because we've seen it. He has some bend. He has some pass rushing skills. Just hasn't panned out. And then lastly, another player who the Niners could trade away is Ambry Thomas. And Ambry Thomas is a player who I thought kind of changed the complexion of this Niners defense to a certain degree coming out of the bye week this past year. But the Niners seem to have lost confidence in him. And this comes after a 2022 season in which they also lost confidence in Ambry Thomas. That's why they barely played him. But it's a third-round cornerback who has put some really good plays on tape in his NFL career. The resume, not too shabby. In the playoffs, though, was not good. And that's why he played 1 snap against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I thought he should have played more. I wanted to see if he could have had that rebound performance. He's in the final year of his deal. So again, with him and Hufanga, you're trying to get value back for a player who, if you let them walk in free agency, you get no value back at all. Ambry Thomas in the regular season compared to the playoffs. This is why the Niners lost confidence in him. Regular season, he played very, very well. Overall Pro Football Focus grade 71.5. Run defense grade of 70 flat. Coverage grade of 70.5. Then in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, not ideal. Overall grade of 29.4. Run defense grade of 30.6. And a coverage grade of 29.9. Had some lapses in coverage. Had some breakdowns in coverage. struggled in coverage against both the Packers in the divisional round and against the Lions in the NFC Championship game. Let's round out with this. Will the Niners make a trade before the NFL draft? A simple Y for yes, N for no. Type your guesses in the comment section.